What's up, guys? Yeah, I know, a lot has changed since my last video. Would I say that the start of my YouTube channel had a correlation with COVID-19? Possibly, so I apologize for that. But, are we gonna stop making videos? No, because what else am I gonna do? I know this was supposed to be an adventure style vlog, but it looks like that's not gonna be happening for a little bit, so I figured I'd make a video indoors, because yes, I am stuck inside, here at home with my family. My younger brother Noah, my mom, my dad who's at work currently, my girlfriend Tessa, my two dogs, Dixie and Chloe, and our foster puppy, Marina, who stays in the back room. We're still out here, we're still thinking, we're still gonna make videos. Let's get into it. Usually when I go through a shoot, I'll go through and I'll find the best photos, and those are the ones that I'll pull out to edit, and the rest kind of get shoved in a back file or moved to trash, and I never really see them again because they weren't good enough for the final cut. So I'm gonna give them a second chance this time. I'm gonna go through and find some photos that maybe didn't have as much potential as my other ones and see what I could do with them. See if I can turn them into a masterpiece using editing, Photoshop, techniques like that, color correcting, to see if we could kind of pull the potential out of these photos. So I'm just gonna go through and see what are some that never really saw the light of day. So I've gone through and I found this specific photo. This is one that I would have passed right by if I was editing the shoot. But upon second glance, this bad boy might have some potential. So I'm gonna go through and I'm going to double click to pull it into Photoshop, and I edit mostly in Camera Raw too. So immediately when you look at the picture, it opens up and it's just kind of bleh. You know, there's nothing spectacular about it. You know, it's a turtle. He's further down in the water column. Yeah, there's some cool lines on the floor that might play in later, but as of right now, just not somewhere you would really want to be. What can we do to make this picture more, I don't know, appealing? Yeah, appealing. So I would start first by giving it a lens correction, because this is a fisheye, and whenever you're shooting with a fisheye down towards the ocean floor, it kind of gives this otherworldly look that just too much distortion, not the distortion that you want. So I'd enable lens correction, and that would immediately flatten things out. If you see, ta-da! For all you flat earthers out there, just made your day. Okay, so next, what else do we not like about this picture? What else could be changed? I would say the color is off. It is very greenish, hazy. Like it kind of blends the turtle with the ocean floor. There's not a big difference there. So I want to make that bad boy pop. I'm gonna come in with the white balance tool. I'm just gonna click on his neck. Don't ask me why. So that's a little bit magenta, but it's a good starting point. It's still hazy, it's still milky. I'm gonna crop it in now. I wanna get that rock out of the back, out of there. And I'm just gonna focus on the turtle. I like his shadow too. I think that's kind of neat, so I'm gonna keep the shadow in. And I'm gonna crop it right about there. Cropped it at a 5x7 because, yeah. So I'm gonna bring the highlights down a little bit, and I'm actually gonna use the dehaze tool to kind of bring the haziness out. And if you notice, that brings the color out in the turtle too. And now it's still a little bit too muted, so I'm gonna bring the contrast up just a tiny bit, and also the saturation, because you lose a lot of the color when you're shooting through the water. So that's the only reason to do that. Also the exposure, I'll bring that up a little bit, kind of highlight the light bouncing off of the floor. And yeah, we're getting there. It's already looking a lot better than from what we started. Like when you look at this, it's pukish. So now I think it's time to pull it into actual Photoshop and get out of this Camera Raw junk. So now we're in Photoshop. What could be done here? I think it's already pretty much, so there's not much, but just some slight things. I have a couple presets that I like to use. Highlight protection I always throw on because the computer knows better than I do what highlights are overexposed and what highlights are underexposed, so it kind of balances things out. I'm also gonna come in and sharpen it a little bit because it is cropped in, and so you do lose a little bit of the detail when you get that close. But I am also going to mask it for just the turtle, because I think that that is the main subject, and he deserves all the sharpness. So let me let you in on a little secret on how I edit. I was not taught how to edit, especially underwater. I've always just kind of been winging it on my own, and I've done what looks good, and when I add something that looks bad, you just Command Z. That's why it's easy to self-teach yourself Photoshop and other programs like that, in my opinion. The way that I edit is kind of unconventional. I just kind of add stuff that I think will look good and then see the finished product, and then I'll know by then. So selective color is one tool that I like to use. I don't know if people out there use it. So one thing that I look at when I see this photo is that I see it's very subtle, but I see a lot of yellow-ish on the bottom. So I'm gonna go into cyans and I'm gonna bring the yellow down. I don't like yellow or green when we're talking about underwater, unless my subject is yellow or green. When I'm talking about the water itself and the entire scene, I like it to be as blue as possible. So I'm gonna bring the yellow down, bring the magenta up a little bit, because the magenta adds a little bit of a navy blue kind of feel to it. I'm going into neutrals and I'm making it more blue as well. See, that already took off some of the yellow. I know it's subtle differences, and they all come together. You know, small differences come together to make something cool, I think. Right now where we're at is where I'm liking this picture. I'm digging it. I would actually use this one. Whereas before it would have been a throwaway, something that I just passed right by. Now that we're sharpened, we're color corrected, I just throw this program called Noiseware on it, and that helps reduce some of the graininess if you're shooting at a higher ISO, which a lot of times you gotta do if you're going out early in the morning shooting underwater where the light already isn't that good. And there we go. We have an absolutely finished product. Now look at this picture compared to this picture. That's the power of editing, and that's how you can pull pictures from zero to hero. Thanks for watching this video. I know it's not as interesting as some of the stuff that I had promised, but bear with me. We'll get past this virus, and we'll be out in the ocean doing some of the adventurous, fun stuff that I talked about in my previous video. But for now, enjoy this video. Make sure and like it, subscribe. And don't count your throwaway shots as throwaways until you've gone through them, really edited them, see what you could do with them, because there's a lot of pictures that I've gone back and looked at a second time, and they've turned out to be some of my favorites and some of my best shots. So look for the potential, and we'll see you next time.